Okay. Cool. Good to go?
Yes. Good. Ready?
Boobies!
Hi,
Hello.
and welcome to
Boobies!
Boobies.
That's right. We're your hosts. I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Joshua.
And we're here to whisper about some more scary things in your ears.
We are.
Or
We're here
yell.
a little bit. Maybe no yelling
knows?
for me. Also, disclosure, I was at a wedding yesterday. I was running around with children.
Oh, yeah. I saw
And
there
I
were
was-
lots of kids.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I love kids, so I just play with them. And then, but like, it turned into way more than I bargained for.
Yeah.
But I
there
was
was
like
7.
no, that was just what was caught in that video you saw.
Oh.
There was a mass of children chasing me around for about an hour and a half. And I was chasing them back and I kept being like, rawr, rawr. So like my whole like throat is like even
Just-
coarse from it.
Yeah.
So I might be doing this a lot. But thankfully I've got my hot water here.
Good.
And I got regular water.
Yay.
Take that back. Not super excited about what we're covering today in the sense of like enjoyment, but excited because I mean I still like the franchise, I guess, or like the concept. Yeah. But we're definitely gonna get into Sinister 2 today.
Sinister 2.
Yes.
Directed by Ciaran Foy?
I
Is that how you say their name?
I wouldn't
Ciaran-
but I think that's like I believe so.
Okay.
I would read it the same way.
Because otherwise I would think Syrian, but there's no IA, and at the end it's CIARANFOY. Syrian?
Karen?
Karen?
Maybe Syrian.
Kieran?
I don't
Foy?
know.
I don't know.
It depends. Does the C make the K or the S sound?
Kussa.
But yeah, it came out what year?
2015.
2015.
Is
That's
what
right.
I
3
have written
years.
down.
Yeah, 3 years
So-
after the original Sinister, which did pretty well, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly. And so that's why I'm sure they were like, we got to make more money.
Gotta do another
Let's
one.
do it.
And I mean, it is a franchise. Like, it leads it so there's so many possibilities to,
Even if they're for them to make like a third one.
because clearly this is something that, as we find out from this one, has spanned multiple generations and time. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Like,
been
what about a prequel, like something that like to see like a 1960 something or like one of those murders or something like that from one of the films that we got to see throughout these both movies.
like the haunting
Like
that
more-
happened to one of those families.
Or more in detail, you know? Yeah.
Or even if they went all the way back to like,
Babylonian times.
yeah,
That'd be
something
cool.
super early 1700s or
Like,
something
how would
in
he,
Sweden.
like,
because
use
or
media?
was it Rome? No, it was like Swedish, right? The translations
the
that we
translator,
get
the
later.
ham radio.
Yeah, and the hand radio.
Norwegian.
Norwegian.
They were Norwegian.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
It's been a few days now since I've watched this.
Yeah, I watched it on Friday, I think, with Robert. I watched it on Friday night. Oh, and when craziest thing happened whenever we were watching this, and it was right towards the end. So there was like only 15 minutes left. But I mean, I did watch the end. No, his entire complex, like the fire alarm started going off, and we were like, "That's really weird." So we're like, and of course, literally the first thing that we want to do, like, turn it off, and we're just like dismantling it because it's not like one of the little regular round ones that you see, like a smoke detector. It was like one that's like a school alarm kind of thing.
Oh god.
So it's like connected throughout all like every single building has one. So then we like turn it off and we're like, and we can hear like all these rings, like, and we're like, oh shit.
It's
so
not
we
just
go
us.
outside. Yeah. And literally there's people out there, like everyone's getting out of their apartments because we're all like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And the fire truck is coming. Yeah.
God.
We were all looking for fire, thankfully. And I mean, unless it's still happening right now and it's a small blaze.
It could have been electrical.
Yeah. So something got switched up or off or whatever. And literally probably for like 3 hours, those alarms were going off. They couldn't, it was so late because it was almost like a midnight that like
Oh, I would be pissed.
Yeah, and people were pissed, and people were like, "What are we supposed to fucking do?" And
I
then
can't sleep in this.
And they couldn't get the property owners, managers. They couldn't get a hold of a fire technician or something like that because it was like something was wrong. And literally, we were like back in and out, like everybody's talking to each other. One girl even walked by Robert's apartment, and then we went back out. She was like, "It kind of sounds quiet there. Did y'all find a way to like turn it off?" And we're like, okay, don't tell nobody, but we did.
We did
And so
dismantle
I
it.
tried to go into hers to like try to, yeah. But we fixed it. It's all back together.
Good.
It's all fine. But yeah.
Glad no one was dead.
Yeah.
No
But
fire.
that was a wild night, actually.
Speaking of
and
fire.
it had to be so fucking freezing too. We were all out there. It was so cold.
Yeah, it was so cold that night. Yeah, that cold front was
Speaking
wild.
of fires,
But
great segue.
we start with
A fire.
creepy scarecrow crucifix family being burnt.
Just like a witch would be maybe, or like Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
but he wasn't burnt. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the potato sacks they over their heads, and they are up on these crosses, or kind of like, I mean, it is a farm, so just kind of how like a scarecrow typically is. You know, they're also in a cross like shape. And
their hands are nailed, or not nailed. Their arms are tied to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it gives me more scarecrow
than any kind of like religious iconography.
But then, we're watching them like burn up, and then it's on that like same Super 8 kind of.
I believe this is 16
footage.
millimeter. They switched it from Super 8 to 16.
Okay, cool. 16.
In the third movie, they're going to turn it to 32 millimeter. So it's got that same vibe. So very much as the first movie with those, like the home style type of videos, a home recording. And
but this one was a dream.
This was a dream. Yes, it wasn't even real.
Implanted in his mind, as we later find out.
And who are we talking about?
We're talking about
Mr. Dylan.
Dylan. Yes, I was like,
I know it took me through half the movie. Because tell me if they weren't twins, right?
They were twins.
They were. Okay, gotcha. Like fraternal though, because they did not look identical. Okay.
But they were.
That's
but
a really.
At one point, she says like as his big brother or something, or maybe she just said as his brother.
Maybe it was just, I don't know.
It says twins in the like
the synopsis and all that plots. Yeah. Because that's what I read. But I was confused because looking at them, I'm like, they don't look alike.
No.
And I mean, I get it. There are fraternal twins, and not every like twin is gonna look like their other twin. But I was just like, what? This is throwing me off. I'm confused.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. We wake up because Dylan wakes up with this nightmare, and already he starts. He's very scared, and he looks across and he's hearing noises from his closet because his clothes are kind of like in the hangers shifting a little bit,
moving, which is very creepy.
Of
course, everyone is afraid of their closet as a child, and it is more like an armoire wardrobe kind of thing. But it's still
like when there's a
terrifying.
monster and you see like you're in the night, like your sweater is making like this really spooky like Babadook looking type of figure.
Yeah.
But no. Because like not even 5 minutes in this film, we already get Bagul.
Yep, Boogie slowly emerges from behind the clothes,
and he just sees his face.
Like,
it's very scary. Very scary in the sense of like if I was in his position, that'd be scary. But also, granted, we've already been introduced to Bagul. I just felt like it was like, oh damn, okay,
we're doing this already.
Yeah, like this is.
You do see a lot more Bagul.
Oh, you do so much more.
Like physical. I don't think I liked that as much.
I didn't like it. No,
because I liked how they showed him in the first one in the film, like in the different.
He was in the bushes.
Movies. Yeah,
he was like very like not the center of attention. Whereas this one, they put him front and center. Yeah. Very much so.
And Milo wasn't. Like
I didn't like any of the kids. I didn't like
the little redhead looked like he was trying way too hard.
Yeah, and then and a lot of it, it's also like in the first movie, and it's so, and maybe this is so they did this on purpose, I'm sure, because the first movie is so dark. Everything happens at night. You're like for the most part in one fucking office room where he never turns on fucking lights in his house, so it's always dark.
Doesn't know how to use the lamp.
And this one, there is so much light in this film. During the daytime, they're like having these interactions with the ghost children, and then like even in the basement, like it's not dark at all, it's very lit. So for me, it kind of took me out of the experience because the kid acting was not good.
Yeah.
All the children's acting was not good. It all felt very forced and like just like they literally showed up and were just like, I'm gonna say some lines.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. I gotta go to school. And so yeah, it just when you always say like I'd rather be left more in the dark and the mystery, like as opposed to just getting something so. Because even
Face
their
value
and even their makeup, like was it even like real applied makeup or was it just like it was all CGI makeup?
Yeah.
I feel like they added it on after the fact. It just didn't work.
I was not as big of a fan. And the kids, like, I know that in the first one, you know, didn't like Stephanie's face or whatever, but I still liked how the kids looked like their life had been like drained from them,
as opposed to these looking more like zombies.
Yeah, they looked very normal until the end when they start turning like scary looking. And then it was way overdone. Yeah, because it was like CGI, like you said. And
you could just tell the fakeness of it.
Wasn't as big of a fan. I wasn't sure. I was pretty sure I had watched Sinister 2, but I wasn't 1000% certain that I actually had. But
what's
then
the verdict?
Once I watched it, I was like,
I've seen this.
This is this
You
movie.
remember how this happens.
Yeah.
Same for me, because I only watched it once, too.
Yeah.
And because I was like, I loved Sinister 1, I'm going to love Sinister 2.
Not quite as good.
Wait, did I
Now
eat
that
my own
house
words?
was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I would buy a house with a church barn thing on it.
Next to it?
Yeah, hell yeah.
No, I would never. There's too much church.
Too much
trauma.
Church. Yeah.
Too much church trauma for me.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about, I don't know why the other day I was thinking about like, man, what if I just bought like an old giant church and then, you know, made it into like, you know how the Waco High Lofts?
Yeah.
Because there's that one
they're
right
really
behind
cool.
that Valero on First Street next to Ute Parks, or that 7-Eleven rather. And
yeah,
that one's super cool. And I was like, damn, that would be a real pretty like place to live. And
Just
then I was
imagine.
like, oh, but there's a lot of demons probably there.
a lot of stuff. Probably.
Once you take away the religious iconography, it's probably going to be like,
well, anything religious. It's like
different.
it's anything religious. Like even if it's godly, quote unquote, because if you think to like religion, like the spirits, devil, demons, like they're always after religious stuff because it's like we're at war, you know. So of course they're going to
congregate there.
Yeah, of course they're going to be present. But after we see Milo sitting right next to Dylan in this very pop-up scare,
right next to him,
we get a title card.
Sinister 2.
Sinister 2.
Which I didn't mind that Sinister 2. That was fine. That little intro was that was okay. But the pop-up scare, the jump scare was kind of cheap.
And this movie is definitely a lot shorter than the first one. The first one was almost a 2-hour runtime or a little over. And then this one's a 1:30, like on the dot. It says 1:37, but literally the credits start at like 1:30.20 seconds in.
Wow. Yeah. So very, very quick movie.
Yeah. And so after the title, we do really get into it already. We're bringing back a recurring character, Mr. Deputy So-and-so.
Deputy So-and-so.
Which
still don't know his real name.
No, we never do. He never even mentioned, like whenever even she's like, I'm Wendy, I forget her name.
Yeah.
He doesn't be like, oh, I'm sorry, I am. He just never is like, this is my name. But we get him coming out of a car. He's going to confessional, and he's talking to the priest, and he's like, this is all like legal, right? Like, if I tell you this, it's like a lawyer. You can't tell anybody. It's confidential.
He's like, well, don't tell me nothing I don't want to hear.
Like he says, don't tell me something I can't unhear. Yeah. And I was like, well, what the is a confessional about? Like, what's the point?
Exactly. I like how so-and-so also said at one point, because the priest said, have you ever gone to confessional? And he said, I don't know. I may have like accidentally had one sacrament, have made one sacrament by accident.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so funny and fitting for him.
Deputy So-and-so is like, even in this one, like, because he was kind of
he's a Dewey.
Yeah, that's what it very much is. He is Dewey from Scream. Like, he is
Dewey.
kind of like that person that you feel like is a little like inept, but
clumsy.
Yeah, clumsy. But like, I mean, honestly, he gets shit done. Yeah, he's been. I mean,
burning houses.
Exactly.
Down.
We're burning houses. He's doing all these things to try to stop Bagul.
Yeah.
Because now that he's like fully found out like why it's happening, especially with the Oswalts from the first movie, and Ellison passing away with his whole family, like he's just like nobody else can like
I need
be
to
harmed.
stop this.
Yeah.
And as he's talking with the priest also hella sassy to him.
Oh, yeah.
Kinda, I was like, I love this. But
I think I said this guy is weird in my notes. I was like, this priest guy is weird.
Yeah, I said, he's sassy. But then the priest tells him, like, you don't stop evil. You can only protect yourself from it.
That's right.
So basically, we kind of get an ultimatum right there of this isn't going to end.
Never gonna
this
end.
Can't end. Yeah.
He's basically saying, like, get out. Like, you did what you did. Now just leave it. But honestly, as we find out later, like, it's not that easy to leave behind. He's now a target of a goal.
Yeah.
But now I remember why I'm like, this guy is weird. We transitioned, it wasn't the priest. We transitioned into the supermarket because now we are following our, I would say, protagonists. I don't know.
Yeah,
damsel in
Dylan
distress.
and Zach, and then mom.
Their mom. And they're shopping. The boys are running around the supermarket like they ain't got no home training.
They're being little shits, leaving their guns they were playing with on the cereal aisle.
Yeah, which, didn't find it there. And then she's like telling them to get cereal, one each, and they come with like 4 boxes. And they're like, why can't we get 4? I'm like, because who the fuck needs 4 boxes of cereal at one time?
True. But if you're eating, I mean, with kids, I feel like we went through cereal pretty fast when I was a kid. And then there's some days.
We've never been like a cereal family. I've never like ate a lot of cereal. Yeah.
I kind of did.
Do you have cereal in your house right now?
Yeah, I have Raisin Bran.
Wait,
I don't eat it all the
Bran?
time. Yeah, I like Raisin Bran. It's yummy.
Oh, really? You like raisins?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I love raisins.
I haven't had a raisin in a really long time.
What
though, so
I really
like
want in this world is the salted raisins from Trail Mix.
Just in all of them, no other thing?
No Trail Mix.
Yeah.
I just want the salted raisins. And I've tried to find, I've looked on Amazon before.
And they don't have them?
You'd think not quite like
it's
what
like
I
an
want.
off-brand or something. Yeah.
Ugh, I do love raisins. I love most dried fruits. But anyways, there's some days where I just want to like heap in bowl of cereal though. And I'll have like Honey Nut Cheerios and then I'll pour like a giant ass bowl.
My top.
I'll go through phases.
I love the sugary cereal. So like my favorites are
Cinnamon Toast Crunch,
Captain Crunch, and maybe like a Reese's Pieces. They're the Reese's Puffs, my bad.
Reese's Puff.
But Lucky Charms are really fucking good too.
Butter chocolate free. See, growing up, Special K was my favorite. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You like all the healthy ones.
I did.
She's like wheats, mini wheats.
I loved
mini wheats are good.
The frosted mini wheats.
Salted mini wheats. Oh, for frosted ones, yes, those are good. Because they would like literally like dissolve into your mouth and like you just feel all the little threads of wheat.
You have to eat it fast though,
it gets so soggy. Yes.
Yeah, before it melts all your sugar off too.
Oh, you know what? It's really good, but also gets really soggy really fast. Fruity Pebbles.
Ooh, yeah. See, I never ate a lot of the fruity cereals.
See, that was on me. A fruit cake.
Oh, I love Honey Bunches of Oats too.
Oh, okay. You know what? If we are talking not related to anything about this podcast, dude, the way we could have a whole cereal podcast, Honey Bunches of Oats, the like vanilla with almond or something like that.
The extra crunch one.
With the clusters.
Are you gonna throw up?
No, I just got really excited. With the like, my favorite part of those like big clusters of like,
it's like the extra crunch. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it's something. Is it like, I don't even know. It's like granola. Sorry, it's granola. Yeah.
It's delicious. I love that shit.
So we're in this grocery store. We're walking around. She is trying to get, groceries. It's a pretty normal day, even though their lives are not normal because they're on the run. Yeah, and the guy who I said is weird is this dude who's probably a PI, and he's like walking around like giving her looks. He's staring her in the eye, and he takes a picture of her at one point.
Being so obvious.
Yeah, very much. I think and I think that's probably from the dad. He's like, I want you to intimidate her,
Oh yeah, probably.
Because he's an asshole.
Yeah. Because whenever he walks by and there's ways to take photos of people,
especially if you're a PI.
Obvious, yeah. And he's just like holding up his phone as he literally
walks
passes
by,
her,
takes a picture of her.
And I was like, yo, you are not fooling anyone.
And that's when she tells him.
It's so creepy. I've been like
stalked like that before
in the grocery store. Yeah,
that's weird.
It was one time at night at like I had got done teaching and I was at HEB and it was really, really late and I kept running into this guy. On the aisles. And at first I thought it was just weird coincidence, but then it was every aisle and he was like staring at me and he would like stop whenever I'd get near him. And then so I'd like walk past. So then I went to the opposite side of the store. I went to the produce because I was like, okay, I just need to, I'm going to, not
I don't
shop
even
in
need
order.
This. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to go over here. And then he showed up and he was there. And I was like, and I should have asked someone to escort me to my car, but I panicked and called my mom instead and was like, Mom, stay on the phone with me till I get to my car.
Yeah. Did he come out at the same time as you as well?
I don't know. I was like running to the car. I was scared. scared because it was really late at night.
Yeah.
And I was scared when I got home too.
You're
for a
young
while.
Woman. The world is tough out there for ladies, man.
It is. And
guys be creepy.
I got to have a rutabaga word now.
Yeah.
Which means run.
Run. Yeah. It's their little secret, I guess, code word for there's an emergency. We got to get out of here.
She's taught him. She says, boys, what does it mean when I say rutabaga? And they're like, run.
And he so they end up leaving, obviously in a hurry. The dude tries to chase after them, but she like tells the security officer that man tried to touch one of my boys. So the dude's like, hold up. And so it was a good lie to say.
Yeah.
And they get into the vehicle, they rush off. We end up getting to their house where we see that they live in like a house with a church barn thing next to it. And as they're all going inside, Dylan very clearly does not want to go inside this house.
Yeah. And he's looking at the like church barn all weird. He's just kind of standing there. He looks very distant already. Yeah. He seems clearly troubled.
There's something going on in his mind. He's not, like you said, present. And so he, after that, and she's just like, come inside. So they end up going inside. We go back to Deputy So-and-so, who we see now his basically version of what Ellison Oswalt had. His little, what are those things? Like investigation boards where everything's tied.
With the red string. And we're seeing it. Yes. It was a nice transition. It transitions from the shot of the house that they were just in, the boys and the mom. And then it goes towards this like newspaper printing or whatever of the same house. So we know like, oh shit, they're in one of the houses.
Yeah.
And it was the Jacobs property and it had been vacant until their family now. So that's why it had never come into play with like another murder happening.
Yeah.
Because no one had lived there
nobody,
yet.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then we also, this is where we get that the Oswalt murder house had burned up. And you can kind of, I mean, I feel like anything with half a brain should be like, oh, okay, Deputy so-and-so is burning it up.
And we get a whole confession like, later, but
yeah. It says under like arson. Suspicion of arson is what it is. And so it's like, ooh, we know who doing that.
Yeah.
And now a word from our sponsors.
From the host of the popular podcast, The Only One in the Room, Stash by Laura Cathcart Robbins is a propulsive and vivid memoir about the journey to sobriety and self-love amidst addiction, privilege, racism, and self-sabotage. Best-selling author Holly Whitaker calls it an irresistibly delicious story, and MacArthur Foundation fellow and best-selling author Kiese Lehman says Stash is emotionally riveting. Buy Stash by Laura Cathcart Robbins now, wherever books are sold.
As if the McCrispy couldn't get any better, Bacon and Ranch just entered the chat. The Bacon Ranch McCrispy, available at participating McDonald's for a limited time. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah. So they're living in this house that, like we said, it's cursed by Bagul. So now this kind of explains, of course, what we're doing here in this movie, but also, just everything that's been happening. And now we're just like, oh shit, well, this family's in for it. Goodbye, family.
Yep. And we, at this point, have now flashed back to our mom painting a chair. She apparently does antique restoration, as we find out later. But she is, staining a wooden chair or something like that. And we hear this metal, like clanging from somewhere behind the altar. The pew or what?
And so
the stage.
The stage, the
where
altar.
People talk.
It's an altar.
Okay, yeah.
The pew and the pulpit is what your people stand at.
Pulpit was the word I was trying to think of. I wouldn't go investigate that. I'm sorry. Like hard pass to hearing that sound. I'd be like.
And that's what I was just about to say. And just like
her name's Courtney.
Someone in a movie, there we go, Courtney, in a scary movie, she goes to investigate, and it's very dark in there as well. Actually,
I loved it. Was so fun seeing her in this film.
What is she from? I don't think I've seen her before.
She was in 40 Days and 40 Nights. She's the main. I know I've talked about that on this film.
With Josh Hartnett, right?
Yes, and then I also love her because she is the main love interest in A Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger. She's the queen. She's apparently in One Missed Call as well.
Oh, I did watch that a long ass time ago.
I loved that. Well, I didn't love it.
That face used to scare the fuck out of me when I was a kid.
I mean, it scared the shit out of me whenever I was younger. And I remember, oh yeah, that's right. She was also in The Holiday. But I remember we saw it with, I guess I can save that for if we are ever gonna look. She's in some film called High Holiday.
Ooh,
And it's a Christmas tree made of weed.
I like it.
Fun. Anyways,
And
but her name's Courtney in this.
And she's investigating, which doesn't really come out to be much. But we do have Dylan entering the church.
His name is literally deputy listed.
It's just deputy.
Deputy.
Yeah.
James Ransone, deputy so-and-so,
Mm-hmm.
according to like IMDb. Yep, just deputy.
And Dylan walks in, and from the jump, well, she just sees him in there. We don't see him walk in, but he's just standing there and he's looking at the floor. And you can tell he sees something that we're not seeing. And she's just like, it's just an old building. Like, it's okay. Like, everything's chill. And then we can clearly see at this point that Dylan, and I don't even know, maybe this is all just because of like the influence of the children are cool, but do you think he's clairvoyant or he's just being manipulated by these spirits?
I think he's being manipulated by them.
Okay.
I think they're showing him these visions
Okay, gotcha.
to try and, well, as we find out later, it was never really their plan to have him, because clearly I feel like I would have gone for Zach too if I was them, because he seems a little bit more like the dickhole. But
He's really
okay
is.
to say about a 10-year-old kid?
He is. No, he's an ass. Look how I spelled clairvoyant at the very top.
Oh my god.
I didn't know how to spell it.
Clairvoyant. I think it's like
buoyant.
IREVOYANT.
And then, you know, like when you're trying to spell something in your phone that you don't know, and even your phone's like not figuring it out, and I'm like, fuck.
There was a word the other day I was trying to do, and I was like, you know what?
I give up. I'm gonna use a different word.
Yeah. Change it all around, because I was like, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and so we have that happening.
Also,
he sees the blood.
She said, go make dinner for the family.
Yeah.
I was like, why the fuck you letting 10-year-old kids cook dinner for y'all?
Girl,
I don't know. I could cook then.
I mean, honestly, it seems like she's got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So she's like, I don't want to focus on this dinner. And so I put, who is this little peasant boy on my thing? I guess another boy or a kid pops up at this point.
He saw visions of blood.
Yeah, he sees the visions of blood in the church, because we'll find out later something bad happened in that church. And then also, the little peasant boy, I think, is the redhead one. He brings out like the record player in the movie thing, the phonograph, sonic, whatever it is.
Yeah, because at this point now, Dylan's gone back inside. We've seen Zach talking to the mom, to Courtney, about saying like, I'm worried about Dylan.
He doesn't seem okay.
Yeah. And then we see Dylan talking to Milo yet again. So Milo's who popped up next to him. And then I even noted here, I said, Milo looks like remarkably normal.
Yeah.
Compared to the kids we got in the last film. Which I also like they could have done anything, and I guess I just didn't like it, because I didn't like when the kids were too done up, but I also don't like that he looks normal.
It's just the kids in general. But yes, he's in here. He looks like a little altar boy as well.
Yeah, and he's very like, his hair
prim and
is,
proper,
you know, very slick to the side.
His Sunday best.
Yes, he is in his Sunday best. He's got like his collar on over his under his sweater vest, you know, collared shirt and pants probably tucked in.
It looks like he goes to like a preparatory school.
Yes.
And he is pulling out a phonograph and like a video. Yeah, it's so weird.
Attached to it.
It's like all in one kind of contraption. And it's basically playing music, and then they want him to watch a film. And they pick, I think Ted, because Ted is like, this one's mine.
Yep,
and it's called Fishing
Ted's.
Trip. And we do get to see...
This one was so silly.
Yeah, it really was, because we see, did it even have them like doing normal things at first?
Yeah, it did. It had
like
them fishing and then kind of sitting on their porch,
it was
and
very
we see
fast.
them eating. Yeah. It very quick little flashes of it, and then then we flash to his family suspended above the water.
Yeah, tied from a tree, hanging over, and it's very Lake Placid.
Potato sacked head,
yeah.
Little crocs come to get them.
Literally, alligators jump out of the water and start like devouring their heads.
Yep.
It's pretty. Yeah, what a way to go. Just having your head like gnawed on and then ripped from your body.
Yeah. And then also hearing it happen to the people
like
next to you.
And yeah. And I'm sure at that, like where they live, like they had to know like, oh shit, that's a croc. It's eating something. And so, we have that whole little fishing trip happening. And then Dylan obviously like right at the end, before it even cuts off, he's just like, I don't want to watch anymore. Like
I grab his little face and turn it towards the screen.
They make him see it.
Yep.
And they want him to watch another one, because they're like, you got to watch all of them. And he's like, like, I don't want to watch another one tonight. Like, I'm done. So he ends up.
And okay, sorry, they really leaned into the shh in this one too.
Yeah,
it was almost like but at the Halloween.
End, yeah, I see what you mean.
Evil dies tonight.
When in the other one, was like kind of saved for like at those times whenever like at the end of like whenever the kids did what they did and they would go shh, you know. Yeah. It's like you said, overplay, because now it's just like, well, this means nothing now because they're just saying that whatever.
It keeps happening, and it's like, okay, we got it. Obviously, they need to keep quiet about this.
That's what he gives me. And so they are, we then, I think we just cut to Deputy So-and-so arriving the next day.
Showing up willy-nilly.
Yeah, to this barn and everything with like literally a gasoline tank, and like he's about to burn this hoe down.
In the middle of the fucking
day.
Yeah.
There's no covert, like he's just like, it's me, I'm going to do it.
Burn this place to the ground.
But of course, there's people living there, so as soon as he wants to like try to do that, we have Courtney running out, and she's just like not having it.
She's like, I'm not taking them.
Yeah, and obviously there's miscommunication and confusion because she thinks he's private eye there to take the kids.
Because
he even says I'm like a private eye.
I'm a PI.
Yeah. And she's just like, I don't care how much he paid you, like please don't do this, like whatever. And he's just like, because he seems very reasonable, and she actually says, well, you seem very reasonable, can we like make you some tea and we can talk about this? And he's just like, please, because I feel like there's a major miscommunication.
Something is clearly we're on
different pages.
Yeah. And so they talk about it.
They go inside. He's like, do you know about Oswald? And she's like, yeah, that's so sad what happened to the whole family. And she's saying, wait, do you think like this house is connected to that? And he's like, I do, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And so
he asked
ignore
her
the fucking gas tank.
Like, do you know what happened here and stuff as well? And she was like, well, yeah. And explains how they got on the property, that it was one of her friends and whose father owns the property. Yeah. But of course it's been vacant, but they allowed her to
stay there because they're, hiding essentially. So nobody knows they're there.
It's still listed as well. So it seems as if no one lives there. But they're actually there.
But they're still paying electric bills? Because Robert did make a point. He's like, if it's been vacant for all these years, why is there like electricity and like all this, like everything's working,
maybe just
running
to
water,
keep it functioning and like to not have the stuff rot away.
Maybe, probably.
Just keeping general, like, because when you completely abandon a building and take everything and you don't like use the pipes and stuff, they rust and get all bad.
Yeah.
So
that's what I was wondering. So I was just like, but okay.
Probably just for general upkeep.
We're going to ignore this for the sake of the movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah. And so they're, and I think probably, you know what? And that's the sake of this. It's like, I read somewhere else, or I was listening to an interview from a director about another movie where they were like, oh, it's Scream. I was listening to like one of the special extra whatever, and they were talking about how, the Scream actors who are in the actual Ghostface thing, like it's not the actual people who are the killers in the movie, like because these are like they're obviously stunt people because of what they do, and they're different sizes, they're bigger than them. And so I think there was a lot of like, because of the last one, Scream 5, they were like, how was Amber like doing all this? How was she fucking lifting people and throwing people around and killing them, because she looks so little? And we even talked about that.
Yeah.
And so they were just like, we know. We were like, if people are asking those questions though, like we're not doing a good job enough to keep you in like, this is a movie.
Yeah.
And so like, this is what I'm feeling right now, man. This movie was kind of lacking for me, to where I'm thinking about like, well, how do they even have fucking electricity?
Yeah.
But they're talking about all that investigation. And then at night, the mom is talking to the kids. And I think that's whenever they're even like, Mom, we know what happened here. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And Deputy So-and-so has left because she said, you don't want to creep around a murder scene in the dark. And he's like, no, ma'am, I do not. He says, I'll be back tomorrow. And this was where I finally got her. Courtney is her name, is what I put.
And also too, the kids being like, everybody knows what happened here. I'm like, aren't y'all on the run and hiding? Who the fuck are y'all talking to?
I know. I was sitting in there trying to think. I said, these kids aren't in school.
Yeah, like that's what I thought.
They're
I was
not
like, they're
going
not
to school.
Like, who would tell them?
Because otherwise the dad could just come take them from school.
It's true.
And
there's a lot of wrong going on here.
But maybe it's summertime.
Yeah.
It
could be summertime.
Looked kind of warm.
Also, too, I guess it's just happening. It's coming from the kids, the ghost kids, telling them. I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
But still,
as a mom, I would have been like, "Well, who the fuck are you talking to?"
Literally, because I was like, well,
"You're
how
under
the
my
fuck would you know all the time,
24/7?" Yeah. Who are you talking to?
And so, that's whenever we cut back to Deputy So-and-so at his motel.
Wait. Can we talk about how whenever she's talking to the boys, like Zach's like saying, "Oh, I know too," and then whenever they start fighting, Zach's immediate reaction was to full on choke Dylan.
Yeah, he's
They're
very
brushing
violent.
their teeth, and then he was just like, I was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, you didn't even try like a little punch on the arm first. You went straight for the throat. Like, what the hell?"
Unfortunately, I think and that's probably due to like what he's grown up knowing from his father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
That's
like,
true.
so he
that's so sad.
subconsciously he's literally becoming his dad and taking it out on Dylan. And Dylan allows it because his dad has already conditioned him to make him think that he's weak.
Yep.
You know? And so
Poor baby.
oh man,
When
especially
he pees his pants on the porch, I was like,
yeah, so sad. And like whenever they're eating the family dinner at the end, when they're back with
Oh,
that,
God, and
oh,
he's
I was
putting the
pissed.
potatoes in his
I've
face.
never like when you get pissed at people, you're like, oh, this is a fake character, but I hate you. And you feel bad for him, for Dylan.
I've been in a situation like that before.
I'm sorry.
Where like someone was
Trying to
not
force feed you
mashed potatoes, but just trying to like very clearly making me do something like I wasn't wanting
to do.
to do. It was like a somewhat rudimentary task. Like eating
it wasn't
or
like
something. But
anything.
yeah, people just suck, and so I felt really
You felt
really
it.
sad.
And
Poor
they're all that happens.
But yes, we are back with Deputy
We're
So
back
and
at
So.
Dale. You're right. Yeah, Deputy So and So is at his motel, and that's whenever he's doing more investigating. And we have him looking at his computer screen, and I guess
It just like haywires.
the haywires. Like
It goes
Bagul
cray-cray.
takes over it. Well, because he sees Bagul's reflection as if he's standing behind him.
Yeah, because the
And it's like-
computer shut off, and so
exactly.
we've got that blank screen. Because it basically, like, what was the last thing? Was it that symbol that flashed on the screen and
The
like
Bagul
red
symbol and
then
white,
went
yeah.
dead? And yeah, we see Boogie behind him in the
And he sees it as well, Deputy
door
So and So.
frame. Yeah.
And it's
then-
getting closer, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Every time he looks at it.
And then it was so creepy whenever his face was then like right up on it.
Right up on the screen, yeah. And then he Deputy So obviously freaks out.
And then the computer just comes back on.
Yeah. And that's when we cut back, I think, to the boys as well. Little boy, Dylan, is having another nightmare. And it obviously wakes him up. So the tactic is that he can't sleep at night because these ghost children, or Bagul essentially, is like implanting nightmares in his head.
They're plaguing him.
So he just can't sleep. So of course, if he can't sleep, they then take him to the basement where they're just like, well, we're going to watch this movie.
Yeah, Milo's like, well, since you're up,
Uh-huh.
let's come watch some more. And then
We get Christmas morning.
whenever Dylan says like, well, no, Milo says, well, I'll just show you in your dreams then.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
He
that's
was like, it's
how we
either
get-
here or, yeah.
Yeah, that it's going to be one way or the other. You're going to get this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we're having the dream though first before Christmas morning about seeing Dylan is the one who set the scarecrow fire.
Oh, yeah.
We start seeing that it is from his like
Perspective.
first person
POV.
POV. And then so I was confused because with the three people that it showed there as well on the little scarecrow cross things.
Yep.
I thought that meant so and so was going to be there.
Oh, gotcha.
I forgot about the dad coming and finding them.
Yeah.
Because again, I'd only seen this once.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, is Deputy
It's
so and so
happening,
gonna?
yeah.
Because clearly Bagul was
After him,
targeting
yeah.
so and so because he
he's
was
trying to
onto
stop
it.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh no, it's gonna be Zach, so and so, and Courtney up there, and so that must be who we saw burn. But it wasn't. But then yes.
The Christmas morning one.
Yes.
Yes.
He goes down and Boogie's watching him walk down to the basement basically. And then Emma is the Christmas morning girl.
Gotcha.
Emma says, the movies make the dreams go away. Once you watch them all, you'll never have a bad dream again.
What a fucking liar.
So,
And so we have
dude, hers
Christmas
was brutal.
morning. Yeah.
I actually didn't mind her acting. I thought she wasn't that bad. She seemed
Gotcha.
like, because she was just normal enough to where it was like,
Yeah.
you look like something is snapped
Mm-hmm.
in you, and
Yeah.
you're not trying to.
I feel
she
that.
wasn't like Ted, who was like constantly like looking
Overacting, yeah.
under. He had his head tucked, and he was like looking up from under the tops of his eyelids, you know, and just looked very over the top.
Yeah.
And she just looked creepy.
And we get to see that she's hanging, like it's a Christmas, they're hanging up ornaments, they're like doing stuff around the tree,
Opening
presents, very Christmas morning things. And then turns to nighttime where we go outside and we see that these family members are getting buried in the snow. And then
and they're in like little to no clothing.
oh yeah,
Or just, very things that you would wear inside your house.
Yeah.
Never outside in the snow.
No coats, no thick coats or anything. And
Yeah.
they just are bound, they're tied up, and she starts burying them alive in the snow, but only leaving their head popped out of it. And yeah, they look pretty dead. They're icicles, except for we do get like one little like eye movement
from the mom, I think is what it was. Yeah, their limbs looked so purple, and then the blistering on their face from the wind. It was pretty rough.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I hate the cold, so that would be the worst way to go.
Yeah. I would watch. They should come out with that one for a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah,
I would watch that.
that's true. Yeah,
Like Christmas.
a very
family
sinister
murder.
Christmas.
Yes. Come on.
A
Hit us
very
up.
sinister Christmas. And so they're dead. And then once
We
again,
get
Dylan's
TM, we get some royalties on that. Thank
for
you.
real. We have Dylan being like, I don't want to watch anymore. No more movies. Good night, Milo. Like good, because Milo is being very forceful. He's like, you got to watch more. And he's like, good night, Milo.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah. And then that's whenever we have the next day, I think even it's switching because we have the boys, I think, about to go outside, and Dylan's looking outside of the like glass door, and he sees the ghost kids outside. And then we have
In
Zach
broad daylight too.
in broad
so
daylight. Yeah.
We're getting that this is happening
at all times.
at all times.
So
You're
they're
not
even
safe
night.
just because it's daytime.
And Zach is being an asshole because he's just like, I can see them too. You're not the only one.
Too, you're
and
not special.
Yeah, and he calls him a pussy.
Yeah.
And that's whenever we do see that so-and-so has come back the next day, and he's in the church and he's looking around, he's investigating, and he hears a sound. He goes to a hallway, and that's whenever he sees like a little metal bowl moving around. He's like, what is that? Pulls out his gun and everything. And then he goes to move it, right? Or he throws something to make the bowl turn over, and that's whenever we see that it's a rat, a really dirty, nasty looking rat. It's
Just
a big ass
little
rat. It looked like a nutria. It was so big.
I wonder if it was one of the rats that
Yeah, probably
ate them.
It looked the way it was like wet, like the other ones were. You know, kind of like that.
Red and bloodied. Yeah, because at this point, Courtney's kind of in there with him, or was at first, and she was like, how were they killed? And he says, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
And we're getting flashes of kind of the original murder that happened there
In
with
pieces,
the family,
yeah.
like in that sort of diagram. I guess it was just a circle. I wasn't sure what it was at first. But then once we see the rat, there he looks behind him.
Oh, I think before that, I'm sorry, I did skip over. He was seeing the shadow kids, right? Or is that right
I
now?
think that's what happened.
Gotcha.
Right now.
Yeah, gotcha.
And so right after the
Right
rat,
after
he
the
looks
rat, that's
behind
right.
him, and there's this little kid, and then he like puts down the flashlight,
And it's not there anymore.
and they're not there, and then he puts it up, and
They're
more,
closer.
and they're closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're just getting nearer and nearer, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's Boogie. Yeah.
Bagul.
And then he finds the mark. He finds the mark painted on the wall. 'Cause
Behind
he
one of
had
the paintings.
asked-
Yeah, there should be in every house before there is this mark. And she was like, oh, I haven't seen that.
But he found it. It was kind of tucked away.
Yep.
And so now he's like, okay, now I've got, for sure, this is what has happened.
Yep.
And then he's on the phone with the new Professor Jonas.
Dr. Stromberg.
Dr. Stromberg.
Yes, and Dr. Stromberg, and it's very much even like, he's like, who are you? You're the new Jonas? And he's like, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I would hate to, unfortunately. So that's whenever.
It's clear that Jonas has gotten into something by uncovering this.
Yeah, honestly.
Because now
Jonas
he's
is
just
dead.
missing.
He's missing, yeah.
Dead. No one knows what happened to him. And he says that Jonas left something behind, and it could be the key to all of this.
Understanding, yeah.
What is going on.
And so he's basically saying, like, we got to meet up. And that's the introduction to that. But then it switches to, I think Dylan's just on a porch and he's about to kill a spider.
Yeah, but he couldn't even do it.
He couldn't take a life.
I was like, sweet Dylan couldn't even kill the spider. No. He's not going to be able to kill his family.
And so that's whenever Deputy So-and-so comes to talk to him, because he's just like, kind of like a heart-to-heart moment.
He's asking
which is
him
really
if he
sweet.
has nightmares. And,
yeah.
So-and-so says like that he had nightmares too. And Dylan asks, like, what do you do to stop the dreams kind of thing? But then
that's whenever we have the whoop, 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 the 5-0, Johnny 5-0 is coming in. We got the sheriffs and we got
asshole. Well, not the
dad.
sheriff.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. As deputies coming in, but they are troopers, right?
Something where, I mean, because that's what he gets him on is the fact that he's not a sheriff.
Yeah, because they pop up. They're trying to take the kids. They're trying to they're basically just trying to intimidate her to get the kids back. And then we have Deputy So-and-so, who obviously used to work on the force, calling their bluff and being like, well, I just happen to know that if the sheriff's not here, it's because this is shady and y'all shouldn't be doing this. because the sheriff is the only person who is allowed to do like kid handoffs, because that's just like not the legislation, the rule, the law, like how it works.
And he says, and I know for a fact, like if the sheriff's not here, it's because either he doesn't know or he doesn't want to know.
And then also that's whenever they're like, I'm going to arrest you, you asshole. And then he's like, well, I was in a very high profile case. So if you were to arrest me, it would probably garner a lot of attention. And that's whenever that deputy just goes back to the dad. He's like, look, we can't do anything here. Yeah, he caught our bluff. Our hands are tied. I don't want to lose my job. He calls him a douche canoe.
Yeah, douche canoe. And this is where Dylan had wet himself as well.
Yeah.
So it's clear that he's very afraid. Like you don't just...
Of his father.
Yeah, you don't wet yourself like that.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's some intense fear.
It is.
It's losing all control of your bodily function.
Yeah.
You're just so terrified.
Yeah, paralyzed with fear. Very sad.
And Deputy Sunso does see this. So I feel like that's why it comes into play later when he was like, Dylan's the one he hit, right? And so the mom was just like, yeah. Because he stays for dinner. Oh, which was also so sad. Like how conditioned. Like he stays for dinner and like they're about to start eating, but he's just kind of weirded. He's like, why is everybody not eating? And she's just like,
oh, Clint always ate first.
Yeah, she's like, Clint always started first. And he's like, well, I'm not Clint. Y'all just eat. And the boys look so like relieved that they didn't. We can eat. We don't have to wait for you to eat.
Yeah.
First.
And he came up with a really good way to make them stay as well.
Because she was like, I'm going to take the kids and leave.
We're leaving. And as we know, you can't, if you've lived in one of the houses where one of these murders has happened, the moment you leave,
you take it with you,
is when you become the new target.
Yeah.
So as long as you're in that house, you're technically safe.
You're tormented, but nothing's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he did a good job of getting them to stay.
Because he told her that like if you leave now, you'll look like a flight risk and you will definitely lose kids.
The kids, yeah. And so then she was like, okay, well, at least please just stay for dinner, like stay and
he was
help
like,
us.
And then I think she even says like spend the night, and he's like, I'm not going to. And then Dylan's like, please spend the night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, I got to spend the night now.
So when Sweet Dylan asked him to stay, and then he was talking with the kids about, like he used to be a cop, but he got tired of seeing people on their bad days. And Dylan said, I think you're good at dealing with people on their bad days. I was like, the sweet kid. The sweet little baby.
And then we have Courtney and Deputy drinking some moonshine or something. They're having drinks on the porch, just talking, getting to know each other.
Well, because he wakes up at first and he was observing the photos, and then Boogie pops out of him, out at him from the photos, which was yet another like cheap Boogie scare. But yeah, so then he's awake and Courtney like hears him and stuff. So they go out and they're drinking, and this is a very awkward encounter they're having.
Yeah, as well.
He said something like, I'm not their father. And she said, well, what was I supposed to say? Like, I wish you were, kind of thing. And I was like, ugh,
and then he's going over like how he lost his police job, right?
And how the asshole sheriff had fired him for giving, helping
the Oswalds and all that. And so that's whenever
this is where he asked too if Dylan
was the one who got hit. And I think that's whenever, for some reason, like kitchen remodel. Is she talking about a kitchen remodel?
So no, Milo was being
that's
super
one of the
persistent.
films. Hello,
one again, and then yes, and so one of the films was called Kitchen Remodel.
That's right.
And so this is where I was like, okay, this is so much bigger than we originally thought.
Yeah,
because like these are not even the same kids from the first one. This is just a whole nother pile of kids.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering like, how does he choose which ones go to which? I don't know, but. Yes, the kitchen remodel, this kid, I don't know his name, but he has basically, we get little flashes of this family in the kitchen and stuff, and his parents are working on it. And then all of a sudden the room is being filled with water.
Yeah. And you're like, oh shit. They're all tied up by their arms.
Yep.
Like this. And he gets an electrical cord. This is also a really horrible way to die. Throws them into the water, and they're just getting electrocuted the fuck out of.
Yeah,
and then
so much to their body is like burnt.
Yeah, because the electricity has to leave certain exit areas out of the body, and so they just have lesions, literally, of their skin melted away from the electricity trying to escape.
Oh, so it's fucking dark. And this is where. Zach comes down and he's seen the end of it now.
Yeah, and he wants to watch more, but Dylan left. He's like, I don't want to do this. So that's whenever Zach's like, well, I want to watch. And Milo's like, you're not good enough. You don't deserve to watch these.
I was like, what the hell is this like child banter? This is so fucking rude to one another. And I was like, what the hell? Like, this is over the top.
So they're definitely manipulating him as well. So you can kind of tell with what they're doing with him.
Yeah, they're trying to make him angry so that way he wants to kill and hurt his family, basically. And they do that at several different points too, even to Dylan, like saying, you know, well, your mom never did anything. Because at one point Dylan says something like, well, what has my mom done? And they were like, nothing. That's the point.
Yeah. She's letting you get beat. She's letting you have, all these things happen to you. And that's whenever we cut back to mom and so coming back inside and they're making out. And it's that very much like we shouldn't, but we want to, and they don't. But they then I think end up exchanging numbers or something.
Yeah, his moves are a little rusty.
That's right. But the next day, that's right. He's leaving to go meet up with Dr. Stromberg, and she's like, "Here's my number." He was like, "I left my number in the house." She's like, "I know, I saw." And that's whenever we end up going to Dr. Stromberg, and he's showing him.
And Stromberg is like hella fucking jittery.
Yeah, weird. He's drinking alcohol.
Yeah, he immediately just sits down and like opens some scotch or something, pours a drink.
Which everybody in these, Oswald, him, like everybody kind of tended to like
heavy drinkers
start leaning to the heavy drinking.
Yeah, and whenever at first so-and-so had said like, no, I'm okay, I don't really need a drink. And then he goes, okay, well, this key thing, it's called a Norwegian alcohol. And basically then he like takes a big sip because he's like, oh, fuck. Like, this is going to be serious.
So he ends up showing him this 1973 ham radio and talking and explaining to him how like a long time ago this transition has been coming on.
Yeah, people from the 70s ran across a strange transmission and a child's piano would play kind of thing. And then we start hearing this number being listed off, and it's 599-500-107519. And he's like, well, what is that? And Stromberg says that it's coordinates.
Yeah.
To where a family was murdered in 1973.
Yeah. And so that's whenever Stromberg starts to like explain to him that, whenever there is a murder, all these things connected through Google, there is some sort of like offering that is like art form, a media form, like whether it be a painting or now we get like the sound, music, videos. It doesn't necessarily just have to be a film or like all that from the first movie. And that's whenever Deputy so-and-so. Yeah, and Deputy so-and-so puts it together because he hadn't at this point put it together, at least what Ellis and Oswald had put together right before his daughter killed him. He's like, it's the kids. The kids are killing the families. That's why there's always one that is missing. Because
they said there are three things in common. Always murdered family, missing child, and some sort of art or semblance. And at one point, the kid on the transmission said, quiet, Bogul can't hear me over your yelling, Mom. And it was like, oh.
That was the Norwegian translation. Yeah. And that's whenever he's like, it's the kids. And then the radio starts like saying his voice back to him, being like, it's the kids.
He gets the kids. It's the kids. He gets the kids.
And then that's whenever
which is creepy.
They turn it off, very creepy. And then he's just like, I would destroy that he's like, are you going to destroy that? And the dude was like, I don't know. And he was just like, I would destroy that if I were you.
Destroy that.
Yeah.
Please, right now.
And so that's whenever we go back to the house. We see the boys. I think Zach is like
they're beating the shit out of Dylan
because they have. Oh, that's right, and it's immediate. He just starts punching him because of what the other kids told Zach, like being like, because he's saying, "Tell me I'm special. Tell me I'm better than you."
Yeah,
yeah. And obviously Dylan doesn't really know how to defend himself, so he's just kind of taking it. Up until the ghost kids come and stand in front of him and are like, "You ain't gonna beat up on Dylan like that." And Zach like gets scared and runs off.
Yeah. And this is where they're clearly planting ideas in his head. Yeah, Zach calls his mom a cunt.
Oh, yeah. After this, they're inside. And that's whenever she's like, why would you do this to your brother? And he's just like, like, she's like, you need to say you're sorry to him. So he's just like, fuck you, Dylan, and fuck you, cunt.
Yeah. I was like,
I forgot that ever happened. So my mouth literally dropped. I was like,
you would not.
Literally.
You did not just call your mom that.
Literally. I was like, oh, his ass needs to get beat. And the way she's just like, don't ever say that. And then I think also she was in disbelief.
I would have been. I don't know how I would react. I would be like, what?
Yeah. Cause then he ends up he storms off. And that's whenever we do have, I think Dylan's back at it, right? He's getting introduced to another movie.
And this is where he had told his mom, like, you let him hurt me, you let dad hurt me.
Because she very specifically said, I'll never let anybody hurt you. And he's like, well, you already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then he's getting the nightmare of his family kind of again.
Burning again.
And he says, Milo says, if we don't do this tonight, he's going to get real mad.
Yep.
And we get to see Sunday service.
Yep.
And that's Milo's film.
He's like, this one's mine. It's my favorite. It's the best one. And if I would have been those other bitches, I would have been like, what the fuck you mean that's the best one, Milo?
Yeah, go away.
Fucking shit. Mine's the best one. And so anyways, that's whenever...
This one was pretty good, though.
Dude, the elaborate like setup in this one, I was like, Bagul has never been more creative. Like this little boy is a visionary on how to kill people. But yeah,
it was very medieval.
Yeah,
because that is something that
they used to do back then. Gotcha, I didn't know that.
Yeah, where they would, and it was like that was a form of torture, was applying heat and then making the rats having to burrow out because they're gonna try and escape.
Yeah,
even if that means eating through their rats. I don't care.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't care. They don't even know. They're like, this Formica is different.
Yeah.
And so that's whenever.
Why is the poison always bright green? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of.
Well, and they're gonna and it's
we know
also
it's poison.
And heavily damn, okay, we get it. There's a poison cup with green ooze. Like I felt at this point, I was like, we could not see that. It's fine.
Yeah. It looked too fake.
Yeah.
Like Scooby-Doo.
In this one, not like the other one was a little bit more chill.
It was not quite as lime green, radioactive, like toxic waste kind of stuff.
And so we do see, like we said, these family gets killed because rats burrow through them because he's applying hot stones on top of like this little metal pot that we saw earlier, that Deputy So-and-so saw the rat in, and they, like Caitlin said, like end up eating through the people and burrowing through. And we do see it.
Come out
and basically the people bleed out because they just literally had
something eat through their stomach.
Yeah. And so it's pretty violent, pretty
it's very slow, painful way to die.
And very graphic. So that's whenever he's just like, we have just one more,
because also that metal's got to be burning the shit out of your stomach as well.
As because it's like it takes on that heat, so it's all like, ooh, yeah. And so that's whenever they want to make him watch one more, and that's whenever he's like, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm not going to. And he's very adamant at that point. He's just like, I'm not going to do it. And that's whenever they're like, you know what? It's fine. You've done what you've needed to do. We got what we needed from you.
Yeah, we've been basically using you. And then they turn all crispy again, like to full creepy now,
and like scare him away essentially.
Yeah.
And that's when we have, I think Zach is down there again, right? Because he wants to see. He like bitch slaps Dylan.
Yeah, something like that. I put. Oh, and Boogie's chasing Dylan now too.
Yeah. It kind of like turns.
Because Dylan's in the church. Why is he in the church?
I don't remember.
I just remember that he's in the church and Boogie's like literally chasing Dylan down the hall, and he like locks himself in a room and hides under a table. And I was like, boy, what good is hiding under a table going to do for you against
with a demon,
this ghost?
Yeah.
And then all the kids are in the room with him. And this is where they say that, because then Dylan's saying, he's like, I don't want to be like them.
Yeah.
And they said, you did what you needed to do. And then we go back into the house and Zach's sitting there watching the films.
And Dylan's like, don't watch them. And that's whenever Zach bitch slaps him.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Like, I'll watch it. They like me now. They choose me now. You go away. And that's, I think we just go back to the next day after this is all happening with him watching them films now.
Yeah, I have like what a fucking asshole Clint is.
Yeah, because we have the dad, and I guess Clint is his name. He comes back. He has a court order this time, and so he's gonna take the kids away, and the kids are like, especially then he's just like,
and because it's someone who works for him. So apparently Clint is someone like, because their marriage was in the newspaper, too, because that's how so-and-so was originally looking at that whenever his computer haywired, and so. This is a high-profile guy, and apparently lots of people work for him.
Yeah,
and so
he's got
this
his
judge or whatever wrote this court order because it's someone who works for him.
Yeah.
And
he was like, you can't find anybody within 5 counties or something that don't work for me.
Yeah. Basically, like, no matter what you do, I will find you, and I will take them back.
Mine. Yeah.
Yes.
And so he ultimately leaves her no option She has to go with him because she's definitely not gonna just like let him take the kids without her. Because he's like, well, if you can come too, and essentially, and she doesn't do it because like, oh, I love you, I want to be back with you. She's just a protective mother, so she's like, well, I'm gonna go so I can at least keep eye. And so they end up leaving. We end up having her following him in his little his big ass truck.
Yeah.
And they end up at his house, which is huge. So now we know like, ooh, this is it. This is the turning point because it's going to start happening.
Because they just left the house, which we knew they weren't supposed to do. And of course we sit at the dinner table and he walks by, takes her phone, which was like, ew.
Oh, and then whenever he texts Deputy So-and-so, because Deputy So-and-so tried to like get a hold of her, and he's like, stop contact.
He says, don't ever call again, signed her fucking husband.
Yeah. He's a really gross person.
He is,
and
yes.
because we're having dinner, obviously Dylan is so like, he doesn't want to eat. He's not hungry. But then
Clint how could you be?
Clint starts putting mashed potatoes in his face.
Just
like
shoving it in his poor
him,
little face.
trying to like make him force eat.
Yeah.
And that's whenever we have the mom finally like being like, stop. And she like makes him stop. And that's whenever he's just like,
good for you, Mom.
Yeah. And he
says sorry
to Dylan as if he's remorseful, but he's not.
No.
And so that's whenever we have Deputy So-and-so showing up, and the dad is not happy. Comes out with the gun.
Ew. Yeah,
he starts
does.
Kicking
he's
Deputy So-and-so.
Yeah,
he's just beating him because Deputy So-and-so said like you were in danger, and I think he was like,
I'm in danger?
Like you're threatening me? Like what? Yeah.
I'm in danger. No, you're in danger. And then he's like, now get off my property while I go fuck my wife. And it was like, ugh.
Literally. Yeah. And so after that, I think honestly this is where the fire alarm started going off. So my notes kind of jumped a little bit, but my next note was that like, so-and-so gets a text from Dylan for help.
Yeah. So that is basically what happens. We flash to basically Zach making his film.
Yeah.
We see Zach in the little cornfield or whatever, because it's clear they live on some sort of land.
Property
with,
owners. Yeah.
Like produce or whatever.
Clint's
like
family used to be plantation owners.
Yeah, probably.
Asshole people.
And so he's sitting there making his little video, and then Zach hands him all drinks and stuff, but Dylan knows. Yeah. Dylan knows. And so he doesn't drink it. Well, I guess maybe he eventually does, but he ends up messaging so-and-so.
He's like, help.
Yeah.
And that's whenever we have Deputy So-and-so arriving to the house. Again, but it's he does see that like, and they went far. They're really far into that cornfield because he sees from very far like some like smoke and fire. And he's like, oh shit.
We see them like, and it pans out too, and they're in like a skull crop circle, which was kind of silly.
Yeah.
I was like, how did that happen? But Zach is sitting there saying and filming the whole time, like the film's rolling, and he's saying, I'm going to be the best one yet. And then we see Clint go up in flames. So he was the third person, and we watch him go up in flames, which I was like, woo!
That's fine by me, actually.
Yay!
And then we have Deputy So-and-so. This is the most funny thing ever. Deputy So-and-so is driving through the cornfield. Homeboy straight up comes and runs over Zach, like just straight eats him. And it's the way at this point,
I was
Zach,
like, yo, that's still a kid.
Yeah, right. And then Zach at this point, though, I don't know if it's the power of Bagul that compels him or
the
what.
Power of Bagul compels you.
Yeah, but he has super strength now, so apparently he didn't die from that, and he just like gets up. Phased. Yeah, and he just Deputy So-and-so is getting Dylan and Courtney off of the crosses, and that's whenever
he starts chasing him with some sort of
scythe.
Hooked
it's a scythe
of sorts, and it was just like, wah! And then I did like that it was playing the same music from that first one.
Yes, this is when
that song. Yeah. I love that.
I love it too. And this is the first time that they brought back any noise that was in the first one.
Yeah.
I was going to say too, all of the sounds that were music that were in the home videos in this one was not as scary or like as much of like a bang as the first one. Yeah. Yeah. They should have just stuck with that same.
Yeah, that song was just so unsettling.
Yeah, it really was.
It was amazing. They shouldn't have messed with it.
And so that's whenever they're running away from him, but and you go in from like them like in regular movie mode, and then like seeing the POV from like the footage that Zach is taking, and we have him then getting so-and-so really bad with like the scythe at his hand. And they get inside the house, and that's when you see Deputy So-and-so's hand is fucked up.
Yeah, they're trying to cover
it, bandage it up.
He's like, it's like 3 fingers were gone.
Yeah.
It's like he only has his pointer and his thumb left. It looked like the other 3 were just chopped
bad.
right off.
And so that's whenever I think they do get separated. Courtney is with Dylan, and Deputy So-and-so is like, I don't even remember.
Yeah, he was going to look for something.
That's right.
And the kids were
fucking around.
Yeah,
They're
we have all the
throwing
ghost
shit.
kids. They've traveled with Zach. They're looking for all of them. They're helping him find them. And then they're just fucking with things, throwing stuff around, and they're trying to terrorize them.
And at this point, the mom is seeing all this shit, like things like the shower curtain. That's right, because they're hiding in the bathroom is like opening back and forth, and we have like Deputy So-and-so end up hiding underneath the desk in the office.
But then he gets like they
pin
whole
him. Yeah.
golf club.
Oh yeah, they're just throwing anything they could
Bag
at
of
him.
golf clubs at him.
Poor deputy.
So it's got to be hella fucking heavy, but it knocks him unconscious.
Yeah.
Or at least
it knocks him out for a while.
Disorients him.
Exactly.
And then he gets up though, and he breaks the camera. And he says, "It's over. You're not making them a film."
Yeah, and Zach is obviously like, "Fuck," and he goes back to the basement. He's like, "Please let there be another camera in here," but there's not. And so since he couldn't,
Which also, I'm like, we're at a different house now.
yeah, I know, but
Who knows? Maybe they had an extra one stored.
yeah.
Eventually, I mean, I guess
it's like
one's
the first
got to be in
movie.
there eventually.
One, it's like the first movie too, like that box that came up in there, and also the whole movie box in the first movie was literally like a little cardboard box, and this is like some like treasure chest, and so. Since he couldn't make his movie, the kids are just like, "Oh no, like
it's too late. You had to kill them all."
And now Bagul he's mad. So that's whenever we have them. Bagul ends up coming right behind Zach and like puts his hand over his shoulder.
He's like sucking out his life force.
And they end up on the actual film. Like they transition, and you see him like burning up.
And the film burns up, and then the house starts
and
burning up.
Courtney and them, they all run down there just as they see him like burning up, and they're like, my baby, no." And that's whenever
like,
Deputy Sons is like, "We gotta go.
He's gone. He's gone.
We gotta go because the whole house is burning down." And it's because I was also like thinking like, damn, she's definitely not gonna get the kid Dylan now. But I'm just like, well, it's a house fire, so it's kind of like people would think it's an accident, but then I'm like, your husband's in the crop field, like burnt to a crisp on a cross.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
That's not going to look good for you
at all.
I was wondering too here, because I was wondering if the hauntings could still happen on the land and not just because it's the original house. Like if someone comes and rebuilds on this property.
That's true.
And then if the haunting can still happen.
But maybe not, because that's why he was burning down the houses essentially anyway.
I know, but what if it was all for nothing?
That didn't even work.
Yeah. That, just
true.
because you got rid of the vessel per se, the land itself is still cursed.
Yeah. And so that's
but maybe if it doesn't have the mark still on the wall or something. What if it was permanently scorched into the land?
It's annulled. It's annulled. And so that's whenever we do have them getting away. We have them going back to the motel because essentially he does probably want to go get a shit or whatever. And as he's in there,
got the fucking radio.
Yeah. Well, and as he's getting his stuff, he does the ham radio just appears out of nowhere on the desk.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it wasn't there. It was like pop. Yeah. It was just there. Because the desk is like nothing there 1 second, and he's on his bed and like getting stuff, and he looks back and it's there.
And it says he gets the kids.
It gets the kids.
And then we hear deputy, deputy, and a little sing song.
Yep. And do we get one more scare?
Jump scare. Another flash of Boogie's face to end it.
Bagul comes out
just like he did in the last one.
Yeah.
Which silly.
Yeah.
But I mean, kudos to them for keeping it on brand for the first one.
At some parts, yes.
Even though, like, I feel like I liked that one more than I did the first one.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I just, at the first one, it was such a good film that I was like, okay.
Could have been done without them.
Yeah. The fact that they just kept it, though, because it was the second one, and it was like, oh, this is how we ended the first one. Like,
we got to do the same way.
Yeah. I kind of appreciate it more.
Honoring the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I kind of liked it more here. But overall, though, I still like the first one much better.
Wait, the first one too is just like there's so much story with the first one. There is so much. I was trying to fix something. I started calling someone. There's so much story in the first one, and there's like essentially with the first one too, it's just like you were on the journey of figuring out all these things with Ellis and Oswald. It's investigating. It's giving like a whodunit, you know? And so in this one, they really tried to kind of like, oh no, there's some still stuff that you didn't know. But for the most part, we knew everything.
Yeah,
there's no
and
mystery.
we didn't really get to like
no
dive
scare.
into the Norwegian like aspect of it. There was no, it wasn't as much of an uncovering.
Yeah. Which I think helped the first one a lot.
They
Because
didn't
it had good
really
storyline.
divulge any new information. Not like the first one. And I mean, I liked the aspect of the Norwegian hell call and stuff and bringing all that in, because then it lets us like know, again, as I said earlier, that this is clearly so much larger than we originally thought. That it didn't just span back to the 60s. Like this has been happening for centuries.
Started, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I even thought that in the first one, especially when they said it goes back to Babylonian times. Because it's like, well, the film.
They didn't have no
They didn't have
movies
no
back
film.
then.
Yeah. So how did he jump out of cave paintings? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
probably, honestly. And I would kind of, that would be so terrifying. Can you imagine just being on a cave, like in a cave, and then seeing this little like
Muggle.
painted stick figure like getting closer?
Not a stick figure.
I want him to be a stick figure.
Because like cave paintings. Yeah, sure.
You know, and he's far away and stuff, his little stick figure. And then maybe he gains some more actual structure as he gets closer. I think a stick figure would be more terrifying. Because can you imagine like if the stick figure then came off the wall and it was just this like little.
But that's a whole different movie. That's not Bagul.
I know, but I would love that.
Just with Bagul's face.
Yeah.
And so, that is 2015's Sinister 2, you guys.
How many boos?
I'm going to give it one boo.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah, because I think about all the other things that I've given like 2s and 3s. Like, I definitely won't give it a 3. No, I'm going to give it 1. I'm going to give it 1 boo.
You gave Sinister a 5.
I know. I give Sinister 2.
Damn, I honestly wasn't expecting a 1.
Yeah.
I was expecting probably about a 3.
No,
Seemed like you liked it maybe a little bit more.
I did not. No,
Yeah.
It wasn't like just the story of the kids and the family and like the kids being out all the time. Like it took me out of it.
Yeah.
I even seeing Bagul more took me out of it. He seemed just more.
I didn't like that the kids were showing the films too.
Yeah.
Because in the first one they weren't.
Yeah.
Like.
Ellis and Oswald was discovering them, you know? So I don't know. It was a big
I mean, of course,
letdown.
there's a difference now that we know that it was the kids doing it. Because like at first we didn't.
That's true.
We didn't necessarily know. We had an idea that it was possibly the kids, but we weren't certain.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, because it also gives you like, I don't know, he's supposed to drain their life force, but yet these kids we're supposed to be, now they're his henchmen.
Yeah.
As opposed where in the first one, it didn't really give henchmen and they never like really helped or did things. They were just more kind of like dead kids who happened to be killed by the spirit, and their spirits are now just like, well, we're forever here. Like,
Yeah.
You know, we're going to run around and just, yeah. Because they didn't even really, I'd say,
It almost seemed like they were trying to like help Ellison
yeah, they're like
uncover
warn him like
what
This
happened.
is, please help yourself, because if not, you're gonna end up like us.
Yeah.
That's how it felt more in the first one, where these were just like, nah, we're on Team Bagul.
We're here to kill people, kill some bitches, make some movies. Yeah, that's fair.
And I thought it would have been even like they didn't bring in little girl from Oswald's. Why wasn't it? Would have been real cool to actually.
It was very odd that there were none of the like
original kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and also that like they should have brought her in, and we should have seen the Oswald's film, because that would have been super cool to tie that in.
Yeah.
That
was a very missed opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't understand why she wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense.
Like I feel like in the line of succession, like all of them should like, we're gonna keep just going. Like but I digress. So I give it a 1.
Especially because they had, I mean, I guess these people hadn't lived in the Oswald house beforehand and stuff, and so I guess that was why it went back. But like in that line, well, that does make sense actually, because it was all
those kids that had been killed in that line.
That was that line of killings.
But it's a demon.
Yeah,
these are spirits. I feel like there's no like.
Well, and if that's the case too, they all have to have one similar origin story. It's like a family tree. That's just branching off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why aren't they all here? Kids from like, give me a Babylonian kid. Yeah. I don't know, a Norwegian kid.
Give me a Norwegian hell call kid. Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah, what do you give the Sinister 2?
I don't know. I didn't hate it. I mean, it's not my favorite. I'm not gonna go. watch it all the time.
I'm glad it was only an hour and a half.
Yeah. There were still some moments that I did enjoy from it. Like Bughuul is still pretty fucking creepy. Although it wasn't, I did like the rat death.
That's
the
true.
Sunday service, that was cool. The croc death I thought was a little cheesy. Comical.
Camp.
Yeah. I was like, what
Especially,
the hell?
like, there's a lot of moments in this movie where it was camp. Especially when so-and-so ran over Zach. I busted out laughing.
I did too. I was like, what the fuck?
Literally.
I'll probably give it like a 2.
2.
Yeah.
For Sinister 2.
A 2 for Sinister 2. Yeah. It wasn't terrible. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it again. And it definitely doesn't hold a candle to the first one.
Like, if I were to tell people, like, okay, y'all go watch Sinister, but, you don't have to watch the second one.
You don't really have to watch the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might give you more of an appreciation.
Yeah.
Kind of like Grave Encounters.
True.
Or Houses October built. Like, if we didn't know if they survived, Houses October built would have been
1,000 times better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact
safe
that
for Grave
they
Encounters
had to carry it on, it's like, why? Why touch something? Don't fix something that's not broken.
They want
They just leave it alone.
Money grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a 2 and a
2.
1. So 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah. 1.5 from your booze.
For Sinister 2.
And next week, we're going to be covering, in honor of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We're going to be covering
The Thanksgiving.
This was a listener request.
Yeah. And it's going to be, I think I've seen stuff about it before. It's pretty campy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of it's like Sharknado.
Yeah.
Like, this shit's supposed to be funny. We're here for a
good time, a good laugh.
Yeah.
Good
Comical
belly laugh.
horror film. Slasher, like what the cover says, gobble gobble motherfucker.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm
So
so
we're ready.
excited.
So that'll be a fun listen for us as we go into the Thanksgiving week next week.
Do you like Thanksgiving?
It's never been like, I feel like some people really love it. I'm more of like a Halloween, Christmas type of person.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving for me was never really
I don't give
like,
2 shits about Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I
do
don't like the food. Just because I
like
get
the
sick.
Food. I like eating.
Or I got
the food.
sick. I had that stomach bug.
That's
so I
right.
don't eat it.
It kind of ruined it for you.
Yeah.
But
I still like mac and cheese. Yum.
big old mac and cheese, rolls, all the bread. And my favorite is the turkey. Well, not my favorite, but I do love the stuffing that's in the turkey with like the gravy, brown gravy.
See, stuffing
so
I still
good.
can't do.
Oh, really?
Because that was like, I think one of the big things
that
I
made you
threw
sick.
up. So I think I'm having eggplant parmesan.
There's so many way to like cook a turkey too.
There is.
Fry it. You can bake it.
I'd be so afraid to fry a turkey
smoke
based
it.
on how many people like blow up their homes. Like, nah, fuck that.
Yeah.
Hard pass. I am excited though. I do always enjoy watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And one day I'd like to go see that in person.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then we're going to have Friendsgiving.
Yeah,
That'll
so
be
that's
fun.
always fun.
A year ago today, we had posted about our film and our great love of Ratma.
Oh, Ratma.
All hell Ratma.
All hell Ratma.
Ratma popped up in my time hop today, and I was like, oh,
Good time.
Ratma.
Good time to Ratma.
Love you.
That was when that came out last year, around VHS, around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well,
That
I
makes
guess
sense.
I think we had already covered it, and then we had posted about all the found footage because we had like covered the Blair Witch, and we had covered
That's
a
true.
kind of little slew of. I can't believe it's already
Found
been a year
footage,
though.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Love Ratma.
Love
All hail Ratma.
All hail Ratma.
And on that note,
Once again, we're in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios. Really take such good care of us.
that's right, and you can listen to us and all of the other wonderful podcasts on this network.
Which is roguemedianetwork.com.
Yeah, on that website or on any of the slew of podcasting platforms that exist, biggest two being
Apple.
and Spotify. But wherever you do listen, don't forget to
Rate, review, like, and subscribe.
on Spotify. We finally hit enough likes to have our number show.
Yay!
I know.
You know what's so funny is a few weeks ago I switched over. I quit Spotify, so I switched to Apple Music, and so now I'm just using Apple Podcasts for the most part. So yeah, I hadn't seen that because I've been listening on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we've
which
gotten
I need
a
to
few.
do both. But
We have a 4.9.
yeah,
I was
that's
like, no, but I was
amazing.
like, who the fuck wrecked our?
right,
Someone gave us a.
like something like. I mean, it doesn't take that much.
It
I
doesn't.
No,
I think there's
if
only
it was
like
all fives.
10
Yeah,
ratings.
Yeah,
Yeah, it says 4.9 out of 10.
that's great.
So that's exciting.
Thank you.
That we've
Please,
got
you guys. We love it. It makes our
some
day.
there. So thank you. But you can also, so you can listen to us there, rate, review, like, subscribe, like we said. And then you can reach out to us. Let us know if there's a Christmas movie in particular that you want covered, or another Thanksgiving one you think we should cover sometime in the future.
Or just any film.
Yeah. Any film at all. Let us know.
Slide into our DMs.
Yep. And that is on Instagram. And you can do that at
Boobays Podcast. And that's BOOBAES because we're your boobays, not your boobabes.
That's right.
Yes.
And until next time, you guys.
Bye, babe.
Bye, babies.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.